once again to SCAN is Here to Help podcast. Today we have a really interesting topic. We're going to talk about substance use prevention and the significance of Prevention Week, Prevention Month in October, and then also about Red Ribbon Week. My name is Luis Flores, and I'm the program director here at SCAN, and I'm here with two people that are very experienced in the prevention field, and we're going to talk about their work and then also about some of the activities that we have done, or that we have scheduled rather, for October, which is Substance Use Prevention Month. So then, again, my name is Luis Flores, and here with me are
Veronica Jimenez, Program Director.
And Jessica Paez, Program Director.
Program Director. Maybe we could start with you, Ms. Veronica. Can you tell us a little bit about your program?
Yes, my program is the Webb County Community Coalition, and we're a coalition to prevent drug use in the community, and we have monthly meetings for youth and adults, and we do different presentations at the schools and community centers, different places.
Okay. So you pretty much have a lot of different partners getting together.
Yes.
And then looking at maybe how to prevent substance use in the whole
Yes.
community, right?
Yes, how to
Okay.
reduce it, yes.
So if people want to get involved, what do they have to do?
Yes, if they want to get involved, they just have to reach out to me, and you can just call the general SCAN phone number, which is 724-3177. They'll go ahead and transfer you, and all you have to do is just let me know that you're interested, and we do our meetings via Zoom. It's every first Tuesday of the month, and it's at 11:30 a.m. And the youth meeting is every third Thursday of the month. That is at 5 p.m. for the high school kids.
Oh, you have a high school. That's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's only kids that get together.
Yes, it's kids that we meet on a monthly basis, and we discuss the different things going on in the community, different drug trends. We also talk about possible events that they could take part in. This is an opportunity for them to earn community service hours, which they need to graduate.
Yeah, that's awesome. That I really like that youth get involved in their community, especially something regarding substance use prevention. That is pretty cool. And so then, and Miss Jessica.
So my program is the Laredo Drug Prevention Alliance, the LDPA, and this is a new federal funded program, and this is to help raise awareness and to the community about trying to reduce different substance use amongst the youth. We do provide curriculum lessons to elementary, middle, high school students, not just in public schools, but we also are able to provide the services to the private schools.
Okay.
We also provide services to college and university students and adults in the community. We are also available for drug prevention presentations as well. So yes, we're up and going, going into the schools, trying
That's
to
pretty cool.
provide that education to the students.
That's pretty cool. So you do basically direct services.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about your curriculum? I'm interested in that.
So our program, what makes it a little bit different is that we have 7 different curriculums.
Oh, wow.
In our program. Yes. We have where our different curriculums are able to cover the 3 different types of prevention. We have the universal prevention programs, curriculums, which we have the Keep a Clear Mind, which is aimed for the elementary students, and we are mostly targeting 4th and 5th graders with that one. We have also the Alcohol Literacy Challenge, which is available for high school and college and university students. We also have the Catch My Breath, and that's a little bit more towards the e-cigarette vaping use that we've seen a lot lately, more recently with the youth. So that one we are able to target middle and high school.
Okay.
We have the selective prevention curriculum, which is the positive action. We are also able to go into the indicative prevention, which trying to count. That's 4 curriculums.
Yeah, no, it's 4 or 5.
The next one is CBSG.
Curriculum-based approval.
Yes. That one we are able to cover also middle and high school. And then we have two specific curriculums where one of them is called the in-depth, which is on vaping. And this particular curriculum is for any youth, students who maybe have gotten in trouble at school, because they've been caught with vaping or e-cigarettes of any sorts. And it's a 4-lesson curriculum that they would have to cover. Now, if students want additional assistance in a cessation program, then we have the Not on Tobacco program. So that's an additional 10 lessons, but they would have to do the in-depth before they get to the Not on Tobacco.
Wow.
So we are able to cover 7 different curriculums, to different age groups, different grade levels. It's been pretty interesting lately, trying to go to the different schools, trying to offer the different curriculums, see what people are interested in, and just kind of working with the different age groups. So yes, we're trying to go out there.
When you say universal, meaning it's everybody, or what is the difference between it? You were saying universal and indicated, and the different types of prevention.
The universal prevention would be where we can cover, classrooms. It's a universal population, a general population, where we can have a classroom, let's say, of 10 kids, or we can have a classroom of 30 kids.
Okay.
So we're able to offer the services.
It's everybody.
Everybody, yes. As compared to if it's an indicated population, this is very specific kids that are being selected for a particular issue. So trying to work with those, I guess, high-risk indicators,
Okay.
For these particular youth. So it goes from, a general to more specific.
Okay.
I guess,
And I don't want to get sidetracked, but that's really interesting what you're talking about. And maybe both of you can chime in. When we talk about high-risk indicators, so we can inform the public, what are some of the things that caregivers need to be thinking about in terms of high risks? I imagine high risk for substance use, yeah. What would be some of those high risks?
I would say one of the more common risk factors would be, if there's any substance use maybe taking place in the home.
In the home.
Anybody that's really actually close to the youth, maybe their friends are using, family members are using. If it's around them, they can, kids are very impressionable, so if they see something like that, they may feel that it's something that's normal.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, we may also need to think of, a little bit outside of the family unit, the environment, are they, I guess the neighborhood, the socioeconomic class, a lot of times, it could be also the different levels of education, I guess I would say, within the family. A lot of times, even nowadays, there's a lot of people that do not really know what drugs do.
I see. You mean education about substances?
Yes,
Yeah.
or that there's always new drugs that are becoming new trends, and there's a lot of, somehow, there's a lot of new substances that are coming about that kids know about before the adults do.
Yeah.
So it's very important, to be able to, just the community in general, parents, families, to know about what's actually going on in our community.
Exactly.
Yes, especially I wanted to say, especially if those kids are being raised by grandma or grandpa.
Exactly. Yeah.
They have no idea what vaping is, how it looks.
Oh yeah, the grandparents don't
Yes.
know. Yes,
Yes.
You're right.
Yes,
Yeah.
the kids know and they can hide it, and it's a highlighter. It's
Yeah,
it's not
that's
bad
true.
for you.
Yes. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't know that this is part of the topic, but I'm also thinking about a lot of different things that cause stress, like trauma, I imagine domestic violence, physical violence, things like that may be also risk factors for to creating kids wanting to escape from the stress that they're undergoing. Yeah, but very interesting. So what is, you don't have to talk about all the curriculum because you have 7, but what would be the main thing that we want kids to learn regarding, substance use and how we can prevent substance use. What'll be some of the, in a nutshell, what'll be some of the things that you cover in your curricula?
I think I'm kind of thinking of one of the curriculums right now, which is the Alcohol Literacy Challenge. And that one, we really try to emphasize, just how alcohol, in this case, is promoted, everywhere. Whether it's media, social media, how much we, as viewers, of social media, we get bombarded with so many ads, and we don't know just how much we're being influenced, by what we see in the media. And kids nowadays, there's all these different social media platforms, so obviously with all these advertisers, taking place, just the way that alcohol is being marketed, to everybody, but again, the youth being very impressionable and them thinking that, okay, well, it's cool, to drink, not really looking at, for everything, for all substances, there's consequences.
Of course.
And I think that's one of the things that we really try to emphasize in, any one of our curriculums is that, there's, for every choice that we make, there's going to be consequences, so it's about making healthy choices and, healthy decisions, anything from, how you, maybe feel about yourself, how that can also be an issue, to the peers around you,
Yeah, exactly.
and how you respond to that, so just being able to know how to make healthy choices
Sure.
and know that healthy choices are there.
Yeah. And I was thinking about going back to risk factors as some kid that goes through really difficult times, maybe associate maybe with peers that are using substances as a good way to gain acceptance. And then also the kids that hang out with kids that are studying and doing involved in sport, that can be also positive peer influence. So I think it is important to know what that the people that we associate with a lot of the times can put us at risk, or it can help us in regards not use. So yeah, that's amazing.
And I wanted to mention that we do presentations like our program does. So we are always giving presentations to parents, to the youth, on the dangers, the consequences, and we always talk about how it's against the law to furnish alcohol to minors, because like Jessica mentioned, sometimes it's acceptable. Like sometimes people are saying it's just alcohol. It's the kids it's not cocaine.
Yeah.
It's not something else, right? So what happens is that sometimes we've even seen kids where they lose their scholarships because they were in possession of alcohol. It happens. Kids don't know. So we go out to the schools and we talk to them and tell them, even though it's just alcohol, it is sold at stores, you're not 21,
Yeah.
you need to be 21. And we do different things. Like Jessica just did an environmental with a store. I don't know if you want to talk about it. It was a really good environmental.
So one of the things that our program does is also being able to work, within our community, so make a change in the environmental policies. And we were able to work with one of the convenience stores
Cool.
in Laredo, and where they agreed to have these We Card kits, and if you've ever gone into a convenience store and you're right by the register, they have these little signs that say, if you were born after this date, you can't, or you should be able to, and that's what these We Card kits are, just to be able to remind not just the actual seller, the store owner or staff, but also, people who are trying to purchase these items, whether it's alcohol, tobacco, it's, okay, you need to be of a certain age,
Yeah.
and being aware that, hey, we know what these laws are.
Sure.
Do you know what these laws are? So being able to even reach out, into, the community, our environment, and making these little changes as well, so, people know that, hey, we're trying to help you,
Yeah, everybody can contribute a little part
Yes.
to
Yes.
the prevention of it. In terms of alcohol, and I don't mean to say negative things about our culture and our community, but it is my impression that in our community we have the tendency to be alcohol as not a not a big problem.
Mhm.
And as I sometimes, when I see people that have experienced problems with alcohol and they start drinking, and sometimes they think that drinking 6 or 7 beers is not problematic at all, or even more. So our understanding of, how frequent we use alcohol, how much alcohol do we use, it seems that a lot of times the community doesn't know, the dangers of it. And then so going back to what you were saying, kids are watching this and they're looking at the role models and they can be picking up these habits. But we know that alcohol can be a really damaging drug. And that it has really bad consequences in general. Yeah.
Yes, and we do want to mention that we do the alcohol, tobacco, and other drug surveys with the schools from 6th to 12th grade from the schools here locally. And we always get back the surveys. They're anonymous, right? But we always get the information that alcohol is the #1 drug of choice for teenagers every year because it's more acceptable in our culture, in parties, it's everywhere. So it's, yeah.
And I'm thinking that especially teenagers that their brain is not fully developed, and then you introduce something as toxic of alcohol, it's going to have some kind of impact in terms of learning and retaining and paying attention and things like that, because it is introducing that, So I think we definitely need to do a better job in general as a community to really inform people about the dangers of alcohol, because it seems to be very, very acceptable.
Yes.
So now let's talk a little bit about Substance Use Prevention Month. And I know that this is the month of the year where we highlight the dangers of substance use, the dangers of addiction, and then also what we can do to prevent that from happening. Can you guys want to talk a little bit about what's the month of October and Red Ribbon Week?
Yes, we're having the Red Ribbon kickoff, which is before Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week is October 23rd through 31st. It's nationwide. And we're having this event at Martin High School. It's going to be on Tuesday, October 15th. It's going to be student-led. So it's going to be the football players, the cheerleaders, the student council, the band, everyone involved. And they are going to walk around the school, march against drugs. And we're going to have the media there, local law enforcement, elected officials, different people from the community to talk to the kids about the importance of being drug-free. Why? Because it's very important for them to be drug-free if they want to be the future mayor, an attorney, all those things. So they're going to give that message to them about how, they need to remain drug-free and go to school, all these things. And it's going to be a very, very nice event, which we have every year. And that's a kickoff to Red Ribbon Week. And then during the whole month, we're going to do presentations to the schools, to the students, and doing different events throughout the whole month.
Okay. I don't know.
One of the things, as far as like the LDPA program, is that we do offer the different alcohol, tobacco, other drug presentations. We really do try to emphasize on the underage drinking, underage tobacco use, especially with the underage vaping use that's taking place. We also try to promote a little bit more on the prevention on the overdose prevention awareness, so being able to just kind of highlight, the importance of just, substance use prevention, across the board, So yes, October is, National Substance Abuse Prevention Month, but, this is something that it should be constantly, all year. There are different parts of the year, where yes, we are asked to do presentations a little bit more often, whether it's, at the end of the school year, prom season, homecoming, things like that, but it's just really trying to get the message out there in regards to, again, what are these substances, what they do, the consequences of using such substances. I know, Vero with her program, whenever they present on underage drinking, I'm always very impressed with like their presentation, with the videos and information that they share, because they really do highlight not just on the consequences of drinking, for minors, but also, anybody who's associated with that, who contributes to that, whether it's you're selling to a minor, whether it's parents who are allowing the
Yes.
kids to drink at their home or
Yeah.
providing the alcohol to them. So being able to talk about all of those consequences that are involved with the alcohol use. And again, it's like you were saying, Mr. Flores, I think as a community, being able to just really come together and just know a little bit more, okay, what can we do a little bit more? What can we do something a little bit different? So yes, so that's something that, I did want to mention, it's not just the month of October, but it's something that, we can do.
Yeah,
All the time.
yeah,
Yes.
because of how dangerous drugs are and addiction, once that it develops, how difficult it is to treat. So it is better to hit it before it starts. So I agree that two things. One of them that is supposed to be a whole year, and the other one that involves really all of us working together. And I know you guys want to talk a little bit about maybe your coalitions,
Yes.
about the composition, who's part of these coalitions.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have parents, we have people from the government, schools, different sectors coming together, because it's very important for us to make sure that we have different sectors, because we work very closely with the schools, with law enforcement, with different entities to try to reduce substance use.
Yeah.
So I do want to touch on how important it is for parents to make sure that they talk to their kids about the dangers of drugs, because many times they're getting the wrong information from their friends or from social media, from other people, and it's not the
The right
correct
information,
information. So it's very important for us. The parents are the first teachers of their kids, so it's very important for them to talk to their kids, tell them the information. So by the time they're offered something, they already know the consequences to their bodies, and they can get in trouble with the law, but also their health is at jeopardy.
Yeah, and at some point, I do want to talk about the importance of parents being involved with their kids. But before I get sidetracked, I do want to talk about two things, other two things. It's one of them, you talk about vaping. I think that at least when it was marketed at the beginning, everybody thought these are not as bad as cigarettes. They don't cause secondhand smoke. They sold it as really, that is not going to cause that much harm. But apparently that's not the case. Would you like you guys to talk about the dangers of vaping?
Yes, so that is, I think that's a very surprising, just substance in itself, how much it has grown, how common it has become, within our schools. And as young as, I would say like our middle schools, even, some of our elementaries, that students have been caught, with vapes, with e-cigarettes or anything associated with that.
What's the difference between vapes and e-cigarettes?
It's, I would say, the language, is also kind of interchangeable, but a lot of times, nowadays we have the different, I guess, vape pens, e-cigarettes, they're kind of like, I would say like the same thing in regards to, it's water vapor associated,
I see. I gotcha.
and yes, as you were saying, when it first came out, it was very, very much marketed as like, oh, this is like a healthier version.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not. It's I would say, I think it's a little bit more, or a lot more dangerous in the sense of
Dangerous than what? Than smoking?
dangerous than smoking, because I think it's more
Attractive to youth,
more
I
attractive
think.
to use.
Because also they use
The
the
flavors.
different flavors,
The
right?
flavors.
The flavors.
But I think it's very addictive, in the sense of it's not just
Strong.
okay, a puff. It's like feeding that need to constantly do it, and feeling that it's more socially acceptable because you're not actually holding a cigarette or
Yeah.
a cigar or whatever. It's actually holding, the little mechanism, but at the same time, because there's a lot more youth that are using, that are vaping, they're becoming very hard to, or they're becoming a little bit more creative in how they're hiding it.
I see.
You know, so whether we've seen, you know, the different vape pens, you know, actually looking like a USB drive or an actual pen. I think one of the more surprising ones for me was actually seeing the strings of a hoodie.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, I didn't
that
know that.
So
actually
they can
being,
just-
you know, yeah, and something that they
They're
can
at
easily
school and
cover
they're
up.
just,
Yeah, you know, and you know, but that's what's being sold.
Yeah.
You know,
So parents really need to get involved and
Yes.
all because they can detect.
and sometimes they don't even know what they're buying them. So they're like, buy me this hoodie. Okay.
Mhm.
They don't even know.
They don't. Yeah, they have no awareness, especially because you don't see the smoke or
Mm-hmm.
anything. But I, and this is totally uninformed, so please forgive me. I don't. But I hear that also that the kind of the oil stints in your lungs. I don't know. That is very damaging in that sense. I don't know where I saw that in the article. But I think it has also really harmful consequences for your health, even though, you know, you don't actually light in a cigarette. But
well, but then we've also seen some reports about, you know, people that, you know, have a vape pen or, you know, and it explodes on them.
Yes.
oh
You know?
wow, I didn't know that.
In their mouth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Their hand.
even becoming as dangerous as that, you know, where you know, people think, oh, it's just, I'm just vaping, you know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I'm smoking cigarettes, but at the same time, you just had something that
Mm-hmm.
blew up on you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I think a lot of times, you know, people don't take that into consideration, that you're actually holding something, you know, an electronic device,
Yes.
you know, and, you know, putting it to your mouth and just, you know, it becomes a constant habit, you know, for a lot of people, that it becomes even a stronger addiction.
Gotcha. Yes. And I was thinking now, talking about harmful. I was thinking also I wanted to also talk about something you said earlier is about overdose prevention and why we have overdose prevention, because we have a lot of opiates available. So then I'm talking about dangerous drugs. I think we can talk about things like heroin and then also
Fentanyl.
painkillers and well also you know medication that can be that used to treat anxiety that can also be super dangerous and super addictive.
Mr. Flores, with that being said, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we do have different sites available in Laredo where you can go drop off medication if it's not being used, if it's expired, you don't want it, because sometimes we have so much medication and the kids can,
Yes,
you know, be
have
tempted
access
to
to it.
get it, get high on it, sell it, you know. So we do have different locations, and we do have the DEA Take Back Pill, which is every 6 months. The next one's going to be October 26th. It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and no questions asked. You just go, drop off your medications, and over the counter or prescribed, and we dispose of it. The DEA disposes of
Gotcha.
it.
So you have like things like Valium, Xanax, Ativan, painkillers,
Yes.
Other drugs, the sleeping pills,
Yes.
also things like that, and you're not using them, and that they're in your household. And please bring them to which.
We're gonna have the location of the Fire Department Administration on Delmar, 616 Delmar, and we do have other locations, but we're gonna post it on our website on SCAN, and also the DEA has their website where you can just get all the locations nationwide.
Yeah, that's great that we can do that. So let's say that a family is listening to or hearing, watching our podcast, and they know somebody that is suffering from an opiate use disorder. That meaning that they're addicted to heroin or to painkillers or fentanyl. I think that is also very common now. Where can they go to make sure that their loved one doesn't die of overdose? What kind of resources are there? I don't know. That's something that you is in your program or in other programs.
So one of the things that as far as, you know, LDPA is concerned, you know, we do cover the presentations on, you know, opiate overdose prevention, you know, where we do try to, you know, highlight, you know, what opiate overdose is or what the signs are. But I know one of the things that schools have been asking for a little bit of is just being able to kind of highlight I guess just wanting to know a little bit more about the fentanyl, because, we have been going through the fentanyl crisis, especially in our community. So we do try to do that, but one of the things that I would say that the staff really is able to do is be able to remind the community that, there are different programs in our community that are available to help, but if they should ever need any type of assistance, that they can call the SCAN main line, 724-3177. One of the programs that SCAN does have is the drop-in center, where, staff is trained on how to train others to also, use the Narcan, the naloxone. So that is something that we do try to also, just inform the community, especially, that they don't necessarily have to have somebody in their family or a loved one, that is using opioids and needs to have Narcan in their possession, but that they can simply know how to administer it if it's
Sure.
needed, at any point for anybody. So that is something that we do also have available with the drop-in center. That's also part of our recovery support services. But yes,
we also cover overdose prevention, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That is one of the things that, the program specifically will also, in being able to train people about how to use Narcan, how to administer it, but it's also being able to kind of highlight on the opiate overdose prevention.
Yeah. Well, I asked you because you know a lot of stuff, and I knew you had the answers for that. Well, thank you, Neva, for indulging me with that. Okay, so watching the podcast, I worry about my kids because I don't know, I have teenagers or preteens. What would be some of the recommendations that you can give caregivers, parents, grandparents, whoever's taking care of kids, in terms of ensuring that the kids don't start using drugs or alcohol?
I would say talk to them, listen to them. Many times we get home from work, we're tired. So we just everybody's in their room, mom's cooking dinner, they don't get involved. I would say talk to them, reach out to them. Come on, help me, let's prepare dinner. Let's
get them involved.
Yes, get them involved, make it fun, get me this, let's prepare this so you can learn how to. And it's also a teaching moment where you can teach them recipes, right? Because they're eventually going to move away from home and they're going to need to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
So talk to them, and while you're doing that, you can ask them how was their day. Many times teenagers will not disclose if they're having problems just by themselves.
Yeah.
We have to get it out of them. So I would say it would be the best way to get information from them, and also having a fun time with them. And when you're sitting down, avoid the phones, because many times people are just on their phones during dinner time. Just not have phones during dinner time. Just make it that half an hour or whatever time you have for dinner, just having that conversation with everyone in the household. How was your day? How's everything going? That way you can know if somebody is getting bullied, if they're having problems with school with certain subjects, somebody's bothering them, etc.
And all those things can lead to
drugs.
substance use. So then, you were going to say something. You were going to add something?
I would want to add that I would say I would recommend for parents to also encourage the kids to just get involved in the community. So I know Vero mentioned as far as, having the youth coalition, so I think that's important for kids, to know, okay, what's actually going on in the community. Sometimes, whether it's an agency that's presenting or a program that's presenting, so you get to know a little bit more about that. Whether it's, a 1 hour meeting that you're joining once a month, that's still you being part of the community. That's you also contributing, as a student. And being able to, yes, you earn some volunteer hours, community service hours for attending, but it's being able to just know more about what's going on. LDPA also has its own advisory board for the adults and for the youth. Adults as in, very similar to a coalition where we have different people from different agencies to different schools, kind of come together on a monthly basis to kind of know, okay, what's going on, with this program. This is how we kind of network and coordinate for services, especially with the schools. But with the youth, we also have a meeting on a monthly basis, where they're also being informed on what the program is doing. What do we offer? And youth are also able to earn community service hours, but it's just being able to just, okay, know what's out there, be educated, because even though they're attending a meeting, they're still getting some presentation on a substance, on something that's going on, something that is really affecting the community. And a lot of times, that's what kids can really benefit from, is just being able to feel like they're belonging to something, they're contributing to something. As Vero was also mentioning, being able to just talk to the kids and just asking them, like, what's going on in their lives, and as repetitious as it may sound sometimes, a lot of times, that's what helps, because kids need to be reminded that,
Sure.
you care.
Yeah, I think becoming involved in the kids' life is one of the most important things that we can do as parents. Yeah, some time ago, I was watching an old, I guess, an old presenter on prevention, and this is a long time ago, when I was younger, and they talk about our culture and how sometimes we notice subtle changes in our kids. So the mom can be cooking and the kid comes in and they detect something. And I think it's so important to know when the mood is changing, when there may be a problem that they're going through. And they can learn to listen and to get closer to the kids. And I wonder if that needs to start really early on, when we are like really connected to the kids and never let go of that. But, in order to become really involved and open the conversation about something as, important as, drugs and alcohol. Yeah.
Definitely, because I think that nobody knows their kid more than the parent. So we know when something's wrong, if something is changing their attitude, or sometimes it's the teenage years, right? But yeah, sometimes it's, something's wrong, why are they upset? And like you mentioned, it could lead to drugs if they're having some sort of problems, instead of talking to their parents about it. And there's so many different programs so that in the community they can reach out to.
Yeah, and a lot of them within SCAN.
Yes, of course.
So if your son or daughter is already using substances, there may be some programs that they can help. Some kids may be already addicted to the substances. We can also provide some help, or any other family member. You as a caregiver, sometimes we struggle and then we go through difficult times, and maybe we need a little bit of support. So then reach out. Is that something that you can, like, if somebody calls and said, I want to know about prevention, but I also want guidance, and this is what's going on in my family, can you guys do that? Can you guys link them to different programs?
Yes, definitely. Sometimes they call me because they see me on the news talking about the coalition or different topics, and we get calls at the office, right? And they're transferred to different people, and we sometimes link them up with, with different services that we offer at SCAN. So yes, we're always trying to help the community in any way we can, either by presentations or curriculums, with linking them up with other resources, but we're here to help.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think it's just one of the things that we were talking about earlier is just, SCAN has grown a lot over the years, and we have such a variety of different services available to the community, to different age groups, and I think right now we're in a time where, it's not just, okay, a person that, is using drugs, I think we're at a point where, of somebody that is using, you're being affected by it, and I think because of how accessible, drugs are nowadays for anybody, especially with the youth, I think it's just important to be able to know that help is available, and because I think even as 2024, and there's still, I guess, doubts, or where people may feel that, well, where can I go to for help? They don't know that help exists, that there's resources, and within our own community, there's just different programs, different agencies that are available to help, and just, I would just say for the community just to know that, help is there,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I like about the programs, that somebody comes in and then we do not only the service to that particular kid, but also we look at what else is going on with the family and then make sure that we identify those needs. And we link them within SCAN, which we have a lot of different programs, but also in the community if they also need some resources in the community. So, well, I mean, this was really, I really enjoyed our conversation today. You guys have a lot of information to share. Is there anything that I missed that you would like to say regarding substance use prevention, the month of October, Red Ribbon Week, anything that you think that maybe we need to share with the public here?
I would just say have that open communication with your children, even though they might sometimes mess up. Explain to them that there's consequences, like Jessica said, in everything, but it's very important for them to know, like, where they're going, where they're at, because many times we've heard, like, police officers say, well, the kid is missing, but the parent doesn't know where they went. They went with Janie. Who's Janie? I don't know. Who are their friends?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have a phone number. We don't have a location. The child is missing. Know where they're going. Ask questions. I know that teenagers don't like to give information, but ask. It's for their safety, and we are the parents, so we're responsible for them.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Jessica, anything before we go?
No, just, to, I guess, bounce off of what, Vero was saying, it is very important to be able to talk to the kids nowadays, asking them, not just, where they're going, but know a little bit more about what's going on in their life, acknowledge that what they're going through is sometimes it's not the easiest, I know we may hear parents say, it's like, well, what do you stress about? You're just a kid. But I think it's very tough to be a kid these days. And they're going through so many different types of stress that, they're trying to just deal with it and manage it, and they need our support, they need to know that somebody is going to be there for them regardless, and I think that's one of our most important jobs, just to be there for our kids.
Yeah. Track their mood, track their behaviors, get closer to them, spend time with them. You talk about cooking, that's a great example. You can play basketball with them, spend time with them. I think that's one of the most important protective factors that are there. You spending time, quality time with your kid, not necessarily preaching, not necessarily nagging, but really getting to know your kids, enjoying their company, getting them involved in something positive, and that can be, I think, one of the biggest protective factor.
Yes.
I think you, as a caregiver, are the biggest protective factor that can have a positive influence in your children's lives and prevent the use of substances. So, thank you so much for being with us during this podcast. And again, we're going to continue having these podcasts to inform the community about important issues, like today about substance use prevention, can be many others. And then also programs that sometimes SCAN implements that are new to the community and that we want to inform you. So we are planning to have this. I hope that you guys come back to do it in Spanish, because we live in a bilingual, bicultural community, so we want to make sure that everybody has access to this information. So thank you again for spending time with us this afternoon.